Oh, hi.
Well, hello, Terry.
Oh, nice to see you.
Hello, Paul McCartney.
I want to talk to you and the world about my friend Terry.
Okay, I'm Terry Ronald. I'm all of 84 these days. It's an age where it's difficult to remember how old I am. There I am in my directorial role. Through my university years, we're actually at the University of Liverpool, so it's just a ferry across the Mersey from my home to the university. In addition to the academic stuff, I've always done theatre. We're actually playing music from discs and ended up doing technical stuff like sound recording.
We must tell you that, unfortunately, in the late 50s, Terry made the folly of a lifetime.
Someone told you the story, huh?
Yes.
He taped over the Quarrymen.
And they went on, of course, to be under a different name to become known as the Beatles. It is a story that, in retrospect, was a mistake.
Today he lives here in Dayton, Ohio, but he grew up in Liverpool, England.
There were many local Liverpool groups who played music, and they were known as basically as skiffle groups. I was a member of a skiffle group at the time. My contribution to the skiffle group I was in was the washboard. My musical talents have never extended beyond that, but I was a pretty mean player. The Rock Island Line is a mighty good road, and if you're on the right, you got to ride like you find to get stick it at the station on the Rock Island Line. And I played the washboard with the appropriate rhythm. Well, at the same time we were doing that, there was another group in Liverpool, and they became known initially as the Quarrymen. They broke out and wrote their own songs. And I thought to myself at the time, that's crazy. And they played at local pubs as well, including the Cavern in their case, which we never did play at, unfortunately. Can you believe that something like that would ever go somewhere? About that time in my life, I acquired a tape recorder. I had a student friend who lived in a room in an old Victorian house in Liverpool, and the woman who owned the house would let local groups practice there, local skiffle groups. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to try the tape recorder, so I took it along one day and recorded whatever group was playing, and I did that on 2 or 3 occasions. And of course I went on to use the tape for recording lectures and things, not knowing that the groups I'd recorded would one day be the Beatles.
He taped over it!
You happen to have access to the reel.
I do. I do have the tape, actually, still. Unfortunately, it has lectures recorded over it. This is it. Would you believe it? This very tape there it is. And you know, somewhere on this tape is a recording of the Beatles in the very early days. Reel-to-reel tape recorder down here. The very recorder that should go down in history if ever I'd kept it. People said, how could you do that? And I think to myself, how could I do that?
Poor Terry, how could you possibly have known he was taping over musical history?
Somewhere, if I look at this very carefully, see that tape? Somewhere on there is the Beatles. That very piece of tape.
So, Paul, do you remember Terry? He would have looked like this at the time.
For some reason, they decided to do a headshot of me for a theatre program.
And a couple years after that, your paths crossed again when he would have set up lighting at your performances at the University of Liverpool.
They just wanted to run some sound, put some light on them, and that was about it. They were chatty. They were Liverpool lads, you know. You just tend to have conversations about Liverpool stuff. And in those days, and in fact Paul still has a Liverpool accent, and I suspect I might have had at the time too, especially growing up. You speak with your nose blocked up, which it usually was. You know, if you can imagine your nose is blocked up with the smog and the fog, and you have this nasal sound, and you kind of drone a bit, you know.
What do you say we give Terry another chance?
How could he have known? He now has improved audio equipment. He volunteers here at the neighborhood church several times a week as their audio-visual technician. Such a nice guy.
Paul, why don't you come down to Dayton? Come over, he'll set up his stuff, you can play some music, and he'll get another recording. Let's do it. Let's give Terry some redemption.
They're still there, somewhere on that tape. They are still there in some molecular form, I like to believe. But nevertheless, from a practical point of view, since it's been recorded over, maybe even more than once, alas, all I can do is keep this as a memory.
If you are Paul, have your people contact us at terrytapedoverthebeatles@gmail.com, and we'll iron out the details from there. If you're not Paul, we encourage you to share this video so that eventually it will get to him. Thanks, and Paul, we look forward to hearing from you.
I've always said that the reason we didn't do as well as they did is they had a better manager, and they could, I suppose, sing and create better songs than we did. But there we go. That's another story indeed.